If you love wisdom, put your mind up to the ceiling. Don't let it stay in the gutter. Don't let your heart get all cluttered. No, I did not stutter. Listen to all that I've muttered. Your life will only go well if you win wisdom or lovers.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
You and I. You and I.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your host, JC Johnson, and you are listening to For the Love of Wisdom on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. This week on For the Love of Wisdom, which airs every Thursday at 4 p.m., we're going to be talking about the wisdom of procreativity. So when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to get into that. What does that mean? What does it not mean? And how does it apply to our lives in 2018? We'll be right back after this.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside.
Hey, what's going on, Wisdom family? Each week on For the Love of Wisdom, we promote a new and free audiobook that we believe you will benefit from and become wiser by listening to. On today's show, we're talking about the wisdom of procreativity. And so, the recommended book for this week is The New Strong-Willed Child by Dr. James Dobson. This book is about how to lovingly and effectively discipline a child that needs just a little bit more attention. To download this free book today, just visit audibletrial.com/lovewisdom. Audible is spelled AUDIBLE, so that's audibletrial.com/lovewisdom.
It's your boy, Tear It Up, Tommy Tom from Beyond Sports, and you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom
with your host, Jason Johnson.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is JC Johnson, and you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And of course, you know you're listening on NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you. And, you know, on today's show, we're going to be talking about the wisdom of procreativity. Every week, we choose a different topic. We've discussed identity, we've discussed unity, we've discussed a lot of different things so far. And just before we go any further, I did want to, for those of you who are listening for the first time, just go over the whole purpose of this show. This is a show on philosophy. However, it's not your traditional take on philosophy. It's got a little bit of an edge to it. As you can see, we have some different kind of music and stuff like that, just trying to do something different. But just looking at the word philosophy, of course, it's not just, you know, something that's ancient or something that doesn't apply, as some people might think. But philosophy is a great thing, and it's something that's very relevant, something that we use in our everyday lives. So the whole title of the show, For the Love of Wisdom, comes from the word philosophy, because philosophy literally means love of wisdom. The word, the first part of that, philo, means love, and the second part of that word, sophos, both with Greek roots, that word sophos means wisdom. So philosophy literally means love of wisdom. And that's what we're doing here today and every week at 4 o'clock on NorthCoastUnderground.com. So before we get into today's topic on procreativity, I did want to just touch a little bit on what we discussed last week for those of you that didn't hear it. And of course, you can always listen. If you missed an episode, you can listen on either iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Google Play. And all you have to do is just search for the Love of Wisdom, or you can search for me, JC Johnson, and the podcast episodes should appear. So last week we were joined by Thomas Simmons. He's a sports analyst and the host of Beyond Sports, which also airs on All Sports Radio, which is another production of the Ohio Media School. And we were also joined by Connor. And Connor's actually here with us.
What
sitting
is up,
in today.
everybody?
What's up, Connor?
How you guys doing?
So he's actually just going to help me explain a little bit about what we touched on last week, since he was here. He just so happened to stop by today. So Connor, we were talking about unity last time, and you were discussing how as a manager and as a supervisor,
Yes.
you were talking about how we can have greater unity in the workplace.
That is correct.
Yeah, so what's something that's happened recently for you, maybe within the past month or even the past year or so, where you feel like there is a situation where you had to step in as a manager and kind of help your employees to kind of come together, have better unity, or even to have better unity with you and other management?
A situation like that recently actually happened this past week. I had to work Memorial's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And that really bothered me because I had to work, because I worked it last year.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and being for the fact I'm in the food industry, I had to close and everything, and it was just, and it really bothered me, and it was something I had to bring up to my boss about that, because it wasn't fair on my side of it that I had to step away from my family and had to even turn down a couple of invitations just that way I had to work.
Right.
And it's like, I get that our other managers have lives and they have kids and everything, but I have a family as well. Just because I don't have kids doesn't mean I don't want to be with my family and spend these holidays with them. And he understood that, and he respected me for coming to him about that. And that's one of the things I greatly appreciate about my higher ups and everything, is that I can come to him about these issues and talk to them about it, so we can rectify it for that way the next time a situation similar to this comes around, we can work with it, so that way we can so that way everybody's happy.
And that's what's important. And it's really about working together.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are afraid to speak up.
Oh yeah, it is a terrifying thing to go up to your boss and talk to him about something that's bothering you, because then you're thinking in your head, oh God, he probably thinks I'm ratting somebody out, or what's this problem now that he's coming to me to, or you could possibly even think that something that's bothering you could not even be a big deal, but if it's bothering you, you should always go to somebody about it.
Exactly. And sometimes you can be just scared because of maybe the demeanor of your supervisor or something. You never know, they might have a bunch of different stuff going on. They're pretty stressed out about just all the stuff that's going on within the business, things that you don't even know about.
Oh yeah.
So they might come off as a little bit maybe even harsh at times or closed off, but they're probably just so focused on what's going on. They may not even really be thinking of the way that you're thinking about it. So you might come up to them and say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Yeah, just tell me what's going on. I need to get back to this. So you might just be like, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna come back.
You seem a little busy. I'll come back when when things aren't that crazy.
Right, but from what I've learned, just having some experience with that, sometimes it's best to just say, forget about what I think that they're thinking. I can't get inside this person's mind. I don't know how they're thinking. Let me just make sure that I say what it is that I feel like I need to say. Because you might be surprised. They might just be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah.
You have been working a lot. You should have some time off. Or, oh yeah, that is a good idea. I'll look into that. You never know. So don't be discouraged even just because of the way that their demeanor is. Make sure you get your point across. Because if you are not happy at work, then you're not going to be productive while you're at work.
Oh yeah, and that could just as easily affect your job, and then your boss is going to come back to you and be like, he's not doing his job correctly, he's not giving 100% like he's supposed to while he's at work. You might start then losing hours, which will then affect your pay.
Exactly. So instead of being at your being at home with your family and enjoying Memorial Day as you would want to have wanted to do, now you're at work not doing the best job, and it's looking like you don't know what you're doing, or like maybe you're not the best fit for that job, which it may just be a situation where you just needed some time off.
Oh yeah.
So it's important to communicate in order to be the best at what you do as possible. We're actually going to be discussing that in a future episode. We're going to be talking about just the wisdom of productivity as it relates to your work, in the workplace, at home, wherever. So that's something you definitely don't want to miss. That should be on next week. And we actually are, we have a special guest that's going to be joining us then. His name is Manny Hall, and it's going to be awesome. So you don't want to miss that one. So just as it relates though to today's topic, today we are discussing the wisdom of procreativity.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and that's a good one. Now, before you get the wrong idea, definitely make sure that you hang around so you can see what we mean by that. But just a little preview, when it comes to procreativity, we are talking about the wisdom of the act of creating a family. And there are many different ways to create a family. And the days and times that we are living in, people have been pretty creative in how they've done that, from adoption to artificial insemination to whatever your mind can imagine, pretty much. They're even trying to see if human beings can procreate with other species, which, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the best use of time and tax dollars,
Yeah, no, that just does not sound right.
No, and if you do think it sounds right, I'd be interested in hearing why. So you can definitely leave any comments that you might have for me on Twitter. If you want to join the conversation, my Twitter handle is @LoveWisePodcast. That's @LoveWisePodcast. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram as well at Johnsonian Theory, JOHNSONIAN Theory. All right, we're going to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
You're now listening to For the Love of Wisdom on NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with who? No other but you.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is your host, JC Johnson, back on For the Love of Wisdom. And today we're discussing the topic of the wisdom of procreativity. What does that mean anyway, right? So let's get into it. You know how I like to do it. Start with a little bit of a word study, just so that we can even understand the word that we're talking about, because we can't go anywhere if we don't get that part right. So what does procreativity mean? Well, according to the Oxford Dictionary, to procreate, it comes from the Latin word procreat, Procreat, which means generated or brought forth. And it comes from the verb procreare, from pro, which means forth, and then creare, which means create. So forth, create, basically is where we get the term procreate, right? So in the context of human beings, procreation, it leads to the start of a family, right? So what is a family exactly? Because in 2018, you have several different definitions of family. That's even a legal battle right now, as far as, determining what is a legal marriage or not. What is it? What is the legal way to basically have when it comes to children, and it comes to your legal role in their life. Sometimes people are married with children. Sometimes people have children without being married. You've heard in the news in the last couple of years, as far as not just even same-sex marriage, as we were touching on a little bit before, but also just the idea of how do you even determine if sex is relevant, such as whether or not a person is, transgender, things like that. There's a whole lot of different ways to look at this topic. We're not going to get into all of that today, but I think that it is important just to understand in the days and times that we are living in. When you say the word family, or you say the word traditional, or even when you say the word marriage, those things don't all mean the same things to everyone. So I'm not going to assume that everyone knows what we're talking about exactly. And that's one of the reasons why with every topic, I like to really break the words down make sure we're all on the same page before we, get any further. So just looking at just the bare minimum, just the basics. The word family, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is the basic unit in society, traditionally consisting of two parents rearing their children. That is the basic definition, right? Two parents. That's the bare minimum. So it is the basic unit in society, traditionally consisting of two parents rearing their children. And it's important to note the three key words in this definition. All right? We have parents, children, and rearing. Those are three very important words. Now, parents. This highlights the necessity of two parents in the equation in order to make this family function in a what they call traditional sense, because there are non-traditional families. As you know, there are single parent households. Maybe it's just a mother with the children. Sometimes it's just the father with the children. In other ways, if the parents are not in the picture for whatever reason, it may be the grandparents and the children. So in some cases, it might be a grandfather and a grandmother and the children, and the grandchildren. And so that would still fall in line with this two parent plus the children system. The only difference would be that instead of being the biological parents, they're just the biological grandparents. So they're just, one generation removed from the children. However, they are still the parents of the children's parents. So in a sense, that's why they call them grandparents. They're still parents, just not as close as the parents would be. So there are some situations like that where you have non-traditional families or types of parents. But then you also have the word children. All right, so that comes next. So you can't have children without parents. Children don't create themselves, at least not as far as I know. If you know something different, let me know. But I've never seen any children walking around that didn't have parents that came first, right? So children. The second component of this family is that there are children involved, and it is possible for a family to exist without children, right? Because potentially you can have two married people, a husband and a wife. They can come together, they can get married, and technically you can say that they are a family, although most people typically would look at a family as involving offspring. But it is possible because the parents are the ones who start the family in the first place. So they are the foundation. We can at least say parents are the foundation of a family. And it is possible, even though it's possible for that foundation to exist without the children, children are necessary for the family to continue to live on. Because without offspring, the family will only endure for one generation, and then it'll be over. Right? So that's something to keep in mind as we're on this topic of procreativity, because for some people, they say, well, what's the point of having children? Hey, I like having my money. I don't want to have to share it with anybody. I don't want to have to pay for other people to eat. I'm just trying to eat, And so I can understand those arguments, but the point of this topic today is to actually really discuss the benefits of having children. And not just look at the things that make it difficult, but the ways that having children can actually promote the quality of your own life. So that's important just to keep in mind. All right. So parents, children, and then the third word, rearing. Rearing. It is not enough for there to simply be parents or for there to be children, right? Although both are needed in order for this to be called a family, it's not all that's needed for this to be a functional family. In order for this to be a functional family, there also needs to be rearing. So it's not enough for there simply to be parents or for there to be children. In order for a family to function properly, the children must be reared by the parents. That means they need to be taught. They need to be disciplined by the parents. Means they need to be loved, nurtured, cared for by the parents. So according to the Cambridge English Dictionary, child rearing is the work of taking care of children until they are old enough to take care of themselves. Now that is really important, right? Because at one stage in a child's life, especially, when they're an infant, they're a baby, they can't do anything without you. Then they start to get a little bit older. Maybe they think they don't need you anymore, but they pretty much are going to need you for several years to come, even if they try to act independent, because, hey, where's their food going to come from? Where is their housing going to come from? All of that. Children can't provide that for themselves, at least not in most cases. So taking care of children is not only feeding them and changing their diapers, but also, outside of that, it's teaching them right versus wrong. It's playing with them. It's teaching them life skills. It's encouraging the development of their natural skills, their talents and abilities, right? Like really noticing those things in your child that makes them, stand out from other people. It's helping them to discover their gifts and their talents, so that one day, not only will they be successful and happy in their lives, but they'll also be able to, use what they've been created to do to make a difference, right? So why be procreated if you don't do what you were created to do? Because everybody has a purpose in this world, regardless of what you believe in. You can just turn on the news or read anything online and see that that's true. But more on that after we come back from the break. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Queen Z from the Queen Z Show, and you are listening to For the Love of Wisdom.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And I'm your host, JC Johnson. And today we're discussing the topic of procreativity. And you're hearing us now live on northcoastunderground.com, where the underground starts with you. And just before the commercial break, we were getting into a little bit about what procreation is and how it relates to family. So basically we said that it comes from the Latin word procreat, and from the verb procreare, pro meaning forth, creare or creare meaning create. So forth create or procreate. And in the context of human beings, or really most living species, procreation leads to the start of a family. And so we were discussing what a family is, and Merriam-Webster's dictionary told us that a family is the basic unit in society, traditionally consisting of two parents rearing their children, right? So we broke down the words parents, which highlights the necessity of two parents in the equation. We talked about children, the second component of family. And also we talked about rearing, the word rearing, because it's not enough to simply be parents, but parents must rear their children, or, take care of them by feeding them, changing them, teaching them right versus wrong, playing with them, teaching them life skills overall, helping them develop their own natural skills, talents, and abilities. So that's what a family is really all about. That's the family unit, two parents and one or more children. So let's take a look at some of the headlines as it relates to family and procreation, because there is a lot of controversy around this subject, especially in the battle, which it really shouldn't be a battle, but it is. And these days and times, it's a battle between those who come from the school of thought or philosophy of being pro-life versus those who have the philosophy of being pro-choice, right? There is a big difference there, and it causes a lot of controversy because these two camps are often fighting, because of course one believes that they're right or more right than the other. So let's take a look at one of these headlines here. This is from about a month ago. This was from an article written by Danielle White in Life News. And it says that YouTube shuts down pro-life group's account, calls its videos harmful and dangerous. I think that's pretty interesting. You know, how is it dangerous? How is it harmful? Well, I guess we have to find out. What does it say? So, just a couple of highlights from here in this article from Life News. It says, after a new study found that the abortion pill reversal protocol is both safe and effective for women who change their mind after beginning a chemical abortion. The study, which followed 754 women who wanted to stop their in-progress chemical abortion, reported a 68% success rate in reversing the effects of mifepristone, the first pill in the two-part chemical abortion process. Now, for those of you that are hearing that, if you're like me, I think that is very interesting and something that you don't really hear about a lot. Of course, we hear about abortion all the time. We hear about just not getting an abortion and going through with having the child, but I don't hear too much about abortion reversal. So it's pretty interesting, but apparently this is something that many have started to do because sometimes women do change their mind in the midst of that process. So there is actually a group who has videos about this abortion pill reversal process. And they posted these videos on YouTube. However, at the beginning of May, it looks like YouTube suspended the abortion pill reversal or APR account for what they called repeated or severe violations of the community guidelines. Now that right there is interesting. So YouTube, what is your thoughts behind that? I'm really curious to know. From what this source says, citing its policies on harmful or dangerous content, YouTube opted to suspend the abortion pill reversal protocol account. They suspended the account entirely. So not only did they take the videos down, they suspended the account, explaining that it doesn't allow content that encourages or promotes violent or dangerous acts that have an inherent risk or serious physical harm or death. Now, I think that's a pretty interesting take from YouTube on this. Some would argue that abortion can be harmful and can present an inherent risk of serious physical harm or death. However, YouTube is stating that the abortion reversal is actually the thing that is causing risk of serious physical harm or death. So I'd be really curious to sit down with the management over there at YouTube and see what their reasoning is fully behind this. But one thing that is important to keep in mind is that this is a huge topic, and of course it's a political topic, and when politics get involved, that means money gets involved, that means lobbyists get involved, and behind the scenes I'm sure that there's a lot going on. For the people who do not want this information to get out there are ways to shut that kind of information down. And of course, for those who want that information, they are outraged by it because they don't understand why something like this is being blocked if they consider it to be something that could be helpful. So whether or not you think that this process is helpful or harmful is important, and I'd like to hear what you have to say. So if you want to just leave me a message right now on Twitter, you can leave that at Love Wise Podcast. That's at Love Wise Podcast, all in one word, no spaces. Basically, that's where you can leave that information. You can, let me know what you think about this. Is the abortion reversal necessary? Or should people just go through with it and not worry about that? Is it more harmful to reverse an abortion than to just go through it? So the article goes on to say the APR or abortion pill reversal protocol involves administering progesterone to counteract the first abortion pill, right? So progesterone is FDA approved and has been used to prevent miscarriage since the 1950s. And then the article goes on to say since 2007, over 500 women have used the APR protocol to save their babies from abortion. So today, the protocol is backed by a network of 350 medical providers. So it's just something to think about. It's a pretty interesting topic, but the article then goes on to say that although abortion pill reversal is credited with saving hundreds of lives, Planned Parenthood, the world's most aggressive and largest provider of abortion, still has its YouTube account. So, food for thought. Regardless of which side of the fence you're on when it comes to this, I think that it is something important to consider. And as it relates to procreation, because with abortion, there's no possibility for procreation. So, in order for there to be procreation, we definitely can't have that. But, I know that people have their different reasons for why they get abortions, and it's not my intent to push my personal views on you as far as whatever you want to do with that. But just keep in mind that if you do have an abortion, then it's not possible to procreate. And that's what the whole topic is today. We are talking about the wisdom of procreation, but more on that after the break. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom on NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you. We'll be right back.
Knowledge is power, power is money, and money makes the world go round. Money, power, respect, I get it higher, learning, yeah, I'm winning. Only get better with time, keep got on my mind with wisdom, there's no limit. There's no limit, get up and get it. Can achieve the impossible, conquer every obstacle. Exhausted from grinding, constantly pushing, do what they say I could. Life is what you make it. Knowledge is power, don't let them take it.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside.